Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating, something that starts right inside your own head.
That's right.
Our mission, basically, is to unpack how mastering your inner world, that internal landscape, can be your ultimate strength when dealing with all the chaos the external world tends to throw at us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be diving deep into what our sources talk about as grip stress. It's a powerful idea, often linked to, highly intuitive types like INFJs, but honestly, it's a feeling a lot of us can probably relate to at times.
Definitely.
And our sources today, they're just packed with practical wisdom. Think of it like a roadmap to deeper self-understanding and maybe finding some real peace of mind.
And what's really interesting here, I think, is that even though we'll touch on a specific personality framework, the core ideas, they really go beyond any single label. We're talking about universal principles here: perception, self-awareness, and especially emotional regulation. These offer kind of universal guide for anyone, really, who's looking for more clarity, maybe more control, and just a deeper sense of who they are.
Yeah.
So as we explore things like internal overwhelm, the sheer power of perception, self-love, living your own destiny, remember, this isn't just about one type. It's about you and finding better ways to navigate your own world.
Exactly. So over the next little while, we're going to explore what this grip stress thing really means, how powerful your perception and intuition actually are, why self-love is so foundational, how you can define and live your own destiny, some smarter ways to interact with people, and finally, how to, skillfully manage those emotions and that constant overthinking sometimes to get to a state of flow, and what our sources even call personal gravity.
Sounds like quite the journey.
It does.
Okay.
So let's kick things off with this concept of grip stress. Our sources describe it as a state where your inner fortress, that intuitive strength you rely on, it just gets completely overwhelmed, swamped by external sensory stuff.
Right, like static interference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you're this sensitive antenna, and suddenly it's all static.
Yeah.
Your usual clear signal, your intuition, it just gets drowned out. The sources say it's like your whole system is running in safe mode.
But it doesn't actually help.
No, that's the paradox. It doesn't make anything better. You just feel totally disoriented, drained, just off.
Precisely. And in that state, as the sources point out, it often leads to, maybe behavior you're not proud of, or, and this is really key, blaming the outside world for your own thoughts.
Ah, okay.
When the real struggle, the core issue, is actually internal. It's a deep internal battle. And our sources really emphasize that understanding something like a personality type, it's not meant to box you in, to tell you who you are. It's more like a map to explain what you're going through.
A map, not a label. I like that.
Exactly. It shifts the focus away from some external definition and towards an empowering internal journey, understanding yourself from the inside out.
And that really brings us to this central idea from the sources. It's pretty
Yeah.
direct. It says, the world often disappoints, and you can't do a damn thing about it except perceive it differently.
Wow. Yeah. That cuts right to it.
Doesn't it? That one line just perfectly sets the stage for how critical perception is if you want happiness and peace.
It truly does. And the really radical part isn't just, look on the bright side. The sources seem to argue it's more fundamental. It's like redesigning your internal operating system.
Redesigning it how?
So you can find stability even when everything outside feels chaotic. It's almost like developing a kind of mental superpower, allowing you to stay centered regardless of external storms.
Okay, so if perception is the key.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your inner GPS, the power of perception and intuition. Our sources call perception the key to everything. Happiness, peace of mind, optimism. Big claim. And then there's intuition, described as that powerful gut feeling that is essentially your brain and body figuring out everything you know and giving you the answers.
Yeah.
The sources really stress how vital it is to actually listen to that intuitive suggestion.
And there's a great metaphor. They use the Google search for intuition.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, think of it like this. Life's stimulation is the search query. So what's happening around you is the question you're asking. Your experience is Google, all your past knowledge, memories, feelings, and the results of your search are your options.
Ah, I see. So your intuition pulls from your personal database.
Exactly. But, and this is crucial, those intuitive results, your options, they're limited by what's in that database. Your knowledge, your awareness. If you're not educated or aware of certain things, it won't show up in your results.
Right. So if your internal Google hasn't indexed certain information.
It can't give it back to you as an option. Your answers, at best, are the result of your experiences and what you've learned so far.
So what does this mean for you listening right now? It means that by actively learning, by seeking out new experiences, you're literally upgrading your intuition.
You're expanding the database.
Precisely. You're priming that internal search engine so it can give you better, more diverse options when you really need them. You make your intuition a more powerful guide.
Makes perfect sense.
Now, let's shift gears a bit and redefine love. This is fascinating. Our sources challenge us to look at it really differently. They talk about the need to look inward, to strengthen their own recipe by applying it to themselves before you go looking for it outside.
The internal foundation first.
Exactly. They highlight needing an internal definition of love first, a primer understanding to protect you and give you boundaries. That feels pretty significant.
It's crucial because it answers that question. How can you genuinely give love if you're running on empty yourself? The sources explain that this self-love, this internal fullness, leads to giving real love that the other feels because it's focused on them. It's not that desperate or needy kind of love that's really about trying to fill your own void.
Yeah, you can feel the difference.
Totally. And when you genuinely operate from that place of self-love, you don't get so caught up worrying about every little thing the other person does or doesn't do. It allows you, as they say, to analyze situations, giving them breathing room to develop before judging anything harshly.
Patience.
Yes. It reinforces that love is patience, love is selfless. But the sources add an important nuance. This isn't about being passive or becoming a doormat. It's about having such a deep internal wellspring that you can observe things, observe others, without that immediate reactive judgment. It gives everyone space.
And this brings us to maybe the core takeaway here.
Yeah.
You don't need their compliance. You need your own compliance to be that person who can weather the storm.
That's powerful. Compliance with your own values, your own centeredness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It warns about judging too quickly, suggesting maybe your expectations may need updating. You need refinement, not them. Ouch, sometimes.
Yeah, that can sting.
And finally, that love isn't about reciprocation. It's about giving because it feels good.
That's a huge mental shift, isn't it? Because we're so often wired to react, to expect something back immediately.
We
It
are.
reminds me of those moments where you feel triggered, you're about to snap back. The sources seem to be saying that with this internal self-love, that knee-jerk reaction actually quiets down.
It does. You build this inner resilience, like a cushion against those external bumps and triggers. You get that breathing room to analyze instead of just lashing out. It's genuinely transformative when you experience it.
Okay, moving on to mastering your destiny. Our sources bring in MBTI concepts here, specifically mentioning the INFJ distinctions as a kind of roadmap to understanding that whole turbulent, assertive thing.
Yeah, the turbulent versus assertive dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for anyone not familiar, turbulent here often means being more reactive to stress, prone to anxiety perhaps, while assertive points to a more self-assured, resilient way of facing challenges.
A useful distinction for self-awareness.
Definitely. And the sources explore how not being aware of these tendencies can lead you to constantly try to fit in, chameleon-like, only to end up feeling isolated anyway. They highlight that deep desire most of us have to live a life that feels, complete and authentic.
And what really stood out to me here is how they describe that self-security. If you are securing yourself, you're a distinct pattern, a unique pattern in the flood of complexity that is the matrix of life.
A unique pattern. I like that imagery.
It's potent. It expands on this idea that with deep self-security, you genuinely don't need the outside world to define a damn thing about you. You stop looking for validation externally.
So what do you do instead?
You learn how to react differently. You learn how to extract the lessons from interactions, even difficult ones. And then you just move on from others' behavior without letting it derail you.
Okay, so what does this mean for your path, for the listener? It connects this self-knowledge directly to controlling your thoughts, your meanings, and especially expectations.
Taking the reins internally.
Right. So for instance, if you understand your default settings, like do you lean turbulent and overthink or more assertive and clear, you can consciously choose to operate from strength. This means, and this is a big one, karma is also in your control.
How so?
Because you're actively shaping your reactions and therefore your outcomes. You're not just passively letting things happen to you. The sources really drive this home. Destiny is not assigned. And crucially, don't let others into your source code.
Your source code, meaning your core beliefs and values.
Exactly, that internal framework that makes you, you.
Yeah.
If you let external opinions constantly rewrite that code, you lose control of your own operating system, essentially. And of course, they bring in Eleanor Roosevelt's classic, nobody can make you feel anything without your permission.
A timeless reminder of internal power.
Absolutely. Now, let's shift focus slightly to navigating relationships. Our sources offer some pretty freeing advice here, particularly this idea, give others more patience. Not for them, but for you.
For your own peace of mind.
Exactly. And then forgiveness is framed not as condoning behavior, but as releasing the thoughts, thus the emotions, thus the bombarding thoughts that cause anxiety. It's like dropping this case internally.
Yeah, letting go for your own sake. The wider point here seems to be always turning the camera into yourself first. Look inward before reacting outward.
Right.
The sources even discuss how to deal with difficult people, knuckleheads, or even narcissists, as they put it, by trying to see their behavior perhaps as a manifestation of pain and suffering caused by problems unresolved.
Seeing the hurt behind the behavior.
Potentially, yes. And it suggests strategies like compassion, adaptation, tolerance, wisdom, stressing that you shouldn't react in kind or feed that negativity. But, I wonder, do the sources acknowledge how genuinely hard the outside world can be sometimes? How do they square that reality with this focus on the internal?
They do. And this is where it gets really cool, I think. They use a matrix analogy.
Ah, okay. Like Neo.
Exactly. They say, there is no spoon, and it's not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
So your reality bends based on your internal state.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It powerfully reinforces that your reality is shaped by your perception. So the idea is maybe you walk away from a difficult interaction with indifference, with kindness, even if the other person isn't reciprocating. That act itself can be like planting a seed of hope, as they say, that might eventually subtly influence their behavior too.
Interesting. It's like Neo realizing the spoon isn't the problem, his perception of it is.
Right. So in relationships, when someone's acting out, instead of just reacting to their external spoon, their bad behavior, you focus on shifting your internal perception, how you engage or choose not to engage. That changes your reality and can subtly influence theirs over time.
A really practical application of this, which the sources mention, is the idea of actively squashing all dispositions to be mad.
Squashing them.
Well, the logic is, if you can be triggered into anger or negativity, then others can effectively control you just by pushing those buttons.
Oh, okay. They pull your strings.
Exactly. So consciously working to dissolve those reactive triggers becomes this powerful form of self-control. It frees you from being easily manipulated. It's like building emotional armor, not by shutting down, but by deflecting negativity before it even lands.
Fascinating. Okay, finally, let's touch on emotions, overthinking, and finding that sense of flow. Our sources talk about emotions and passion. In is passion out. They urge you to get to know your emotions like you get to know another person.
Treat them as messengers, perhaps.
Yeah, and it explains how even negative experiences, rather than just being bad things that happen, can actually become touchstones for growth, points of learning.
And the material also suggests something interesting about tempering passion and controlling excitement. It's a key point because it's not saying don't feel things intensely.
Right, it's not about being numb.
No, it's about directing that energy intelligently. They suggest it's wise to maybe wait until you have enough information to properly assess all variables before you completely dive into, say, a really blissful state.
Why wait?
Maybe to ensure it's grounded. It also pushes back against forcing yourself into some artificial carefree state. Instead, it advocates for caring enough to actually find solutions to problems. And then, naturally becoming carefree about the things that truly don't serve you or that you can't control.
That makes sense. Authentic carefreeness, not forced positivity.
Exactly.
And when it comes to that overthinking loop, the sources say something pretty profound. It's not what's happening, it's how you react to, perceive, calculate the variables of, the way you experience your own thoughts, thinking, imagination, logic. You are really controlling the entire ride.
Wow, that's a huge statement about personal agency.
Isn't it? So with overthinking, it's not just the volume of thoughts, it's how you engage with them. The sources argue you're not just strapped into this mental roller coaster. You're actually in the control booth. You can choose the speed, the direction, even which thoughts get priority.
It's empowering. And a key insight connecting all this is how self-knowledge leads to clearing out all the clutter, learning to flow like water, as they put it.
Closed state.
Right. And the beautiful result of all this self-mastery, according to our sources, is something they call personal gravity.
Personal gravity, what's that?
It's that subtle but undeniable influence you gain, not because you're trying to be powerful, but just because you're authentically centeredly you, People are naturally drawn to that steady core. It allows you to network, to build things, because your strong internal world provides a solid foundation others can sense.
Well, what a deep dive this really has been. It's clear that this journey of self-mastery, refining that inner world, it's definitely a continuous process, isn't it?
Always ongoing.
But absolutely essential, it seems, for navigating life's twists and turns with more peace, more purpose. We really hope these insights have sparked something for you, and maybe you can already see ways to apply them, even small ones, in your own life.
And maybe just zooming out for one final thought, drawing from our sources. If your inner world is truly yours to define, and if, as Roosevelt said, nobody can make you feel anything without your permission, then what does that truly free you to choose to feel? And how might making that conscious choice fundamentally reshape every interaction, every situation, every person you encounter, starting right now?
Well, it's a powerful question to sit with as you go about your day.